How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another video. I would like to start this video off by thanking everybody who watched my last video. It is probably my best performing video to date, which I find especially shocking because I thought it would be my least viewed video. I was not showing off any books and ended up being 30 minutes long when all was said and done of just me talking. And it is my most viewed, fastest viewed, most liked, most commented video to date. So it makes me extremely happy to see that it resonated with so many people, and I cannot thank you all enough for checking it out. And I will always try to comment, at least heart, like, every comment that I can. I try to hit every single one. As I mentioned before, I started this channel because I want to engage more with the comic book community. There's not a whole lot of it around me in person, so this lets me kind of reach out to more people with similar interests. So any videos that you guys happen to enjoy, if you leave a comment down below, I will respond to it. Like I said, on the off chance I blow up with 10,000 views, which won't happen, might be a little bit harder, but for now, any comments down there, I love engaging with you guys. That's why I'm here, that's what it's all about, so thank you very much. I have a very special video today. One book, and it's not an old book, it's a very common book, but it is a book that kind of sums up one of my greatest passions, which is the DC animated shows. And that book is this. This is Booster Gold #1 in a CGC 9.8. Not a hard book to get, and as you might have known, blown up kind of recently when it was announced James Gunn would be doing a show. So there are a few books that I was kind of specking on, not for flipping purposes, but I really love what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy. I really love what he did with the Suicide Squad, and then what he continued on with the Peacemaker show. That is one of my favorite DC properties now, to the point that, as I've shown in my last videos, I've gone out and I've got Vigilante's first appearance, Peacemaker's first appearance. I love what he did with the character. So when I heard that he would be taking on more of the DC universe, I started thinking of obscure, oddball characters that he might use, not because I wanted to buy them cheap and flip them if he ended up using them. I tend to love the characters and what he does with them, so if there was a chance down the road I wanted to buy that book and add that character to my collection, I wanted to do it sooner rather than later. And there were very specifically 3 characters in mind that I chose to target for that potential. One was Metamorpho, his first appearance, which also ended up panning out. That book I snagged probably the same week it was announced. I locked mine in. I have a 7.5. I think I paid around $330 for it at the time. Got that book, bought it. Later that week the announcement was made and it shot up. Again, I'm not selling my copy. That is my book for my collection. Happy I was able to get that one before any news broke. There were 2 more heroes though. Like, I'm kind of impressed with myself that I nailed the heroes, but I only was able to snag one of them before the announcement. So the other one that I was not able to get before news was, I think it is Spectre 54, the first appearance of Mr. Terrific, the one I am familiar with, at least, in the animated series Justice League Unlimited they use. It is a much older character from, Silver Age. I'm not sure even if he appeared in the Golden Age. Maybe. But the character they decided to use that version of to the show specific was in Spectre 54 that I was also looking to snag. Then the news came out they would be using that character. The book shot up, so I backed off. Another one that I really wanted was Booster Gold for several reasons. Like I said, some of it was James Gunn spec, and I did not get this one in time either. Right as I was looking at it, I was kind of eyeballing some copies. The announcement was made, and I want to say that this book doubled. I don't remember 100%, but I think it was in the 300, 350 range before the announcement. And once the announcement was made, it shot up to like $600, $650. So another one that I backed off. Now, with the strikes and everything, things have cooled down. Times are a little harder out there. Look at my last video. Now is the time for me to snag it. I finally went back to this one now that things have gone down. Got it for a very good price, very similar to what it was going to before the announcement. And this character, while the character himself doesn't hold a huge weight with me, his episode in Justice League Unlimited, The Greatest Story You've Never Heard, is one of my personal favorite episodes because it kind of sums up everything that I enjoy about those shows. If you guys have seen them or if you haven't, Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series did an amazing job and are so beloved, not just for the tones and the themes that they used, but they did an amazing job at fleshing out both Batman and Superman's characters, along with their respective villains and their core supporting casts. They did an amazing job with that. Then you have Justice League that comes along and does one step further. You have these characters that you already know, are already loving, introduced to, and it adds to it. Now you have the Martian Manhunter. Now you have Wally West Flash. Now you have, which again for me is my personal Green Lantern, John Stewart, because of my attachment to him in that show. For me, Wally West is my Flash, John Stewart is my Green Lantern, specifically because those are the ones that I grew up with watching and the shows I loved. Then you have Justice League Unlimited, which takes it a step further, where you are introduced to some of the characters that were in the first seasons of Justice League, but it broadens it so much more. And because you have these characters like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, that are kind of the core crew that you already know, they can kind of take a back seat in some episodes, and they can let characters like Booster Gold and others kind of have the limelight now. So in his episode specifically, as you saw with the thumbnail of this video, Booster Gold, there's a big crisis going on, and he is put on crowd control. Everybody else that is of note is kind of working towards the big threat, and he is on crowd control. And what is more impressive about this is, in this one episode, not only does it highlight different aspects of the core members that you usually don't see, this character that I had never heard of before was given his own little mini arc from start to finish in this one that I find great. So, the first half that I want to talk about is Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman. You always kind of see the best versions of those characters almost to an idealistic standard in their own shows and how you've seen them before. These episodes where they're dealing with lesser known characters, you get to see a different, even more realistic human side. Because throughout, Booster Gold, he wants all of this, he's doing this for fame, he's doing this for money. He is a man from the future that came back to the past with his tech to be a superhero with that tech. He is all about the glory and the money in this. You all know, throughout life, people you work with, maybe family members, you have those people that you are being very pleasant to. Because professionally, or just personally, you have to. You're kind of putting on that person charm and dealing with them, even though you would very much rather just choose not to if you did not have to. Booster Gold is one of those characters with the Justice Leaguers, and that's what I love about it, is you see the human side where Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman are a little bit more cold, a little bit more distant. Every interaction they have with this character, you can tell that they've been putting up with him for a bit, and he's graded and worn them down to where they no longer have that kind of fake charm, and it's all business. And, in some situations, deservedly so, but it kind of makes you step back a bit. It's the first time you really see these characters who are supposed to, no matter what happens, they're supposed to care, they're supposed to be a little bit softer, warmer, be a little bit more realistic and cold in a situation with somebody they're just tired of, like some of us would be. So half the episode, you get this different side of the core members that you know and love, a very, very human side, and then you have the whole Booster Gold arc of this story. As I said, he starts out the episode, he'll do anything to get on the team dealing with this crisis. They finally let him on, but they put him on crowd control. And throughout the entire episode, he's trying to do more, he's trying to get more involved, and they are just not having it. Until finally, something a little bigger, a crisis, happens upon him. And same thing, he does the right thing. He calls up the Justice League, he tries to get them involved. They shoo him off. They are busy, they are dealing with the real threat. So he says, okay, I guess I'm dealing with it myself. And it's kind of his chance to deal with the situation, still for all the wrong reasons. He still wants the fame, he still wants the glory. But throughout the episode, he has shown that it is not just about that. he kind of sets his own personal beliefs and wants aside. He does this mission, he takes care of this threat, he is the hero. And kind of the best and worst thing about this, by the end of the episode, he actually saves the day. And not only does nobody believe him, nobody cares. They don't believe that anything he was up to had any weight or significance. The core members included, even Batman kind of gives him crap. He's like, I put you on crowd control. Whatever you were doing was not what you were supposed to be doing. We're going to talk about this later. So again, it just shows a different side of the characters where you're used to them being more understanding, being a little bit cold and submissive. But I love this episode because it let a character I'd never heard of shine. It showed a different side of the heroes I did love. But by the end of the episode, Booster Gold is the hero, not that he wanted to be, but the hero he needed to be. He got the girl, and he put everything that he thought he wanted aside to do the right thing, regardless of the fact that nobody knew about it, nobody thanked him for it, and he might even be punished for it because nobody believed him. So, if you haven't checked out Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Justice League Unlimited, I highly recommend each and every one of those shows. They are amazing with the overarching story of each season, as well as each episode gets character specific. Justice League Unlimited in particular, they bring in so many characters and it is so engaging. What they do with Black Canary and Green Arrow and that pairing, what they do with Huntress, The Question, how they bring in Wildcat and that whole thing with Black Canary, Green Arrow. So many characters that at that age I didn't know or care about, that these are the appearances that I am now tracking down that I want to add to my collection, just because what a great job this show did with them. All of these shows. The way the overlap works great, the way they feed into one another, the continuity, so I have a lot more coming on the way for these kind of smaller, newer appearances from the shows, but I really wanted to showcase Booster Gold #1 specifically, both because of the notoriety that James Gunn has kind of said he's going to be doing I think it's a show with the character, but also because that episode to me really, really stands out as everything I love about Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. They take this lesser-known, unknown character, very much like James Gunn does anyway, and they make a whole episode about him. He goes through a whole arc within this episode, and you just really, really like that character by the end. You want to see more of him. You want to see his interactions with people. So that's all this video is going to be. Just a quick thing showing off one book, talking about one specific episode of this show, and why this book meant so much to me, why I wanted to have it, the kind of books and appearances I'm looking to get after this. So, thank each and every one of you for checking out this video. Until next time.